Oh boy. Well, it's been a while since we've tried this, so let's see how it goes. No promises, but we'll give her hell. Time to attempt to get caught up in the fish room. Water changes to do, some tanks that are empty, some tanks that need to go down. I think I've got a leaker up there, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. Whenever, if ever, people stop by, let me know how the audio is. I'll kind of be bouncing back and forth. Got to get things together so we can get stuff done. So let's get to it. Aquarium Fantasy, what's up? uh, it's been a while. Steven, June, hope you guys are doing well. Um, it's overdue, I would say. But last couple days I was able to get some yard work done, and now I have some time to actually maybe do a little streaming, see what everybody's up to, and chat with you guys. Fields the Gardens, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Um, it's gonna be a good time. I hope. Hopefully it's productive, and the odds of overflowing a tank are probably about what you'd expect. So, um, yeah, I don't know if I'd say that I have a nice amount of time. I have time, so that's good. Not a whole lot has changed down here. Tearing some tanks down behind me to replace those. And there's the biocube. Still needs resealed. That happens. But I did get the PD up. That's kind of cool. We expanded the air loop a little bit, and you guys probably haven't seen this setup. So it's more or less going to turn into a fry station, and that'll be snake frogs or something. Undecided. We'll see. We'll just see where life takes us. There have been a couple reptile shows that I've missed out on, unfortunately. Uh, Thanks, Philip. Appreciate it. So yeah, it still sits empty. I got to build it. I've got a buddy that actually offered me up a bunch of substrate to get it set up. Yeah, it's just a matter of time, and does it make sense? Does the sound okay on your guys' end? Said I haven't done this thing in forever, so I don't really know that I know what I'm doing anymore. So if you guys could help me out, be much appreciated. Um, just streaming from my phone right now, so hopefully it goes well. Video seems like it looks okay. If you guys just give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down, tell me I sound like crap. Tell me you just can't hear me. I'd appreciate it. Cheryl, what's up? Happy Monday. Hope you're doing well. Um, we'll see, Stephen. We'll see. Last time it wasn't even so much a phone issue as it was just a me issue because even though I had it set up on my phone, I didn't set the phone to use for Bluetooth, so it was all broke sore. If anybody is bored and has time and wants to chat, I will drop the link in the chat. Feel free to join, and we'll actually work on getting something done. Hopefully soon. Drop this little guy in here for you guys. Toro, what's up, bud? Been a while. I haven't been in any streams, let alone stream for myself lately. 86 at 11:30. I know how you feel. Um, for those of you that are not in Discord, ended up picking up a couple ponds last night for $3.99, so that was kind of hard to pass up. It's just a matter of actually getting them dug in the ground. So we'll see if I can make that happen or not. June re-upped her membership. Thank you. I know I've said in the past that I do appreciate you guys plugging the channel, whether it's just sharing it out, showing your friends, maybe you found something useful, super chats, memberships, whatever. I do have a list of people that are or have been members at some point in time, and I will get something out to you guys. I've got to take the time to sit down and basically just make shipping labels, which, as you guys know, my free time is related to fish, and then moreover, the channel is directly related to what's going on in the world. So when the world's busy, when there's weird stuff going on, that means I get busy. And unfortunately, the fish room is the first thing that goes on the back burner. So while I do apologize, I do greatly appreciate your guys' support. Streams added FFL. Thanks, Steven. Geek, it is too hot to be digging in the ground, and I don't have enough fluid for that. So we'll get to it eventually, maybe, and we'll see how things go. I am going to start a couple water changes quick. Maybe I can bring you guys up on the ladder, and we'll take a look at things. I've shown you some of the stuff in the tanks over time. You probably haven't had a good look at it, and I've never really done an official tour of the fish room, usually because it's an absolute disaster. But good afternoon, Jenna. Thanks for stopping by. You guys get to see the natural state of the fish room whenever I stream. So consider yourselves lucky. It's easy for people to set up fish room viewers when they look nice and they're all shiny and clean and the video looks great. But perhaps those are a not quite accurate representation. As you guys know, my fish room never really looks super clean. Nature being natural weird. Scatty no. What's up, Sarah? Hope you're doing well. I need the proper equipment to attempt to cleanse the glass. Which I have no idea where any of my stuff really lives right now. It's just scattered everywhere. But up the ladder we go. Get some scrubbing done. So that you can at least see inside the tanks. Most of my tanks are pretty old. So they've been scratched plenty of times. We can still get a decent look. Gotta do some work, you know. I set this room up forever ago. You guys are probably just staring at my backside right now, which you probably don't appreciate too much. I set this room up forever ago and still haven't got around to actually mounting a lot of lights. So they just currently sit and hang, well, rest on top of the tank. Whew, that is not a good close-up of my mug. Yeah. Got the grass and algae. Everybody's favorite good old time. Now, I wish I would know how to change this stuff. If I can get the glass clean enough so that you guys can actually see something, maybe we'll get to see some fish today. No promises. I don't know if a whole lot usually ends well for me when I stream. It usually involves preposterous amounts of overflows. And a lot of water on the floor. Fortunately, you know, as time's allowed, I've done water changes real quick on the aquariums, but not necessarily a lot of actual maintenance. So all the water's clean-ish. Tanks tends to fall into a disastrous state. So that's quite unfortunate. I haven't fallen off a ladder in a while. I haven't seen. Is Matt in here? I don't see Matt. Of course, for some reason on my phone, I can only see about one message at a time right now. I gotta see if I can adjust that so I can actually see what people are saying. Welcome to my mess. That is the only light in the room that's on a switch. So I've plugged, not fire code, probably. Plugged another overhead light in so I can see a little bit. FFL is in the house. Howdy, howdy, FFL. Linky is always a pleasure to have. I actually saw, if you're not familiar with the Keystone Clash, I saw the Keystone Clash post the other day that FFL is doing some sponsoring stuff. So not only does FFL support, a bunch of streams where they do giveaways and awesome stuff, they share everybody's content that's involved. They're also sponsoring the Keystone Clash. So kudos to everybody over at FFL for doing a great job helping build the community. It's one of those things that could potentially go unnoticed. So whenever I can, I like to give them a shout. The guys and gals that are involved in that do great work. My God, I'm not looking at my laptop and I can't read the chat worth shit on the phone. Step on a ladder trying to do water changes. It's been a little while. I'll probably just do 50% on all the tanks for Meow and see if I can pull some of this damn hair algae out. So a pickup that I don't think I've shown many of you. I recently got 3 reticulated Siamese algae eaters, which I wasn't terribly familiar with. But I was talking to Johnny. He said they were one of his favorites, and I got a good deal on them. So I figured, what the hell? They've been in quarantine for about 2 months now, looking healthy. Unfortunately, I do believe they are jumpers. So maybe one of you guys have experience with reticulated SAEs. If you've had experience with them jumping, please, or not jumping, let me know, because I'm planning on putting them in the 125, but the 125 doesn't have lids. So not sure that's the greatest idea. However, Bulk Reef Supply has some pretty cool screen tops, like clear mesh screen tops that are supposed to work pretty well. So I think in order to avoid losing any light from my lights on the 125, I'm going to pony up and get screen tops. I'll probably go with the 8-inch mesh, a little bit smaller to avoid any jumpers. And we'll see how that plays out. Jenna said FFL is providing cable signs for every vendor at the Clash. That's pretty awesome. Steven confirmed that they're guaranteed jumpers. So Steven said reticulated SAEs are super guaranteed jumpers, and Jenna said there's always been tanks with lids, but our regular SAEs have jumped many times. So I'll take note of that, and instead of basically throwing 3 cool fish on the carpet, I wait until I put some sort of lid. Holy smokes. I don't know. This whole StreamYard setup on my phone is not great. Like that. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh, so 4 went carpet surfing. I don't necessarily like those odds much, I'll be honest. So I won't take my chances on that one, and I'll probably throw lids on them. Oof. Anything that involves scaffolding sounds like a headache to me. Not that I'm afraid of scaffolding or ladders or heights or anything. That just sounds like a lot of work. So I'll try to avoid that. In fact, speaking of heights and ladders, it was actually for the first time this year, which was about 3 months too late. I drug my kid outside to help clean the gutters because they were bad. There's a silver maple in my neighbor's yard, and it likes to drop seeds in the gutters, which doesn't end well. So the gutters were full of just rotting seeds and other crap. I told a kid that maybe we go to the pool or something later that afternoon if he helped me pull weeds and clean the gutters, expecting him to simply stand at the bottom of the ladder and hold the ladder, if you will. And he actually decided he wanted to climb up and deal with the gutters. So 16-foot extension ladder. He did not appreciate me not holding it, but he helped out. So that was surprising and greatly appreciated. What's up, Jorge? Welcome, welcome. Uh, da, da, da. Sure, you can call them fun because they spin when you drop them. Or we could be honest and say they're an absolute pain in the butt because they get absolutely everywhere, throw everywhere. And to give you an idea of how long it's been since I cleaned the gutters, there were silver maples that those super cute, fun seeds spin when you drop them had sprouted, and I just had silver maples growing in my gutters, which is not something I'm interested in. So gutters are clean now, finally. So that's a plus. And then completely unfish related, obviously, but did a little bit of landscaping work, and like I mentioned, ended up with I don't know. I think it'll be a cool pond setup. Somebody was giving it away for free, so I ended up with it at my house. Big surprise. I think I've got a space for it in our yard. Our yard's not big, but we've got a corner, and it's two pieces that I think will kind of fit in the corner nicely. So if it cools off, when it cools off, we'll dig that, and maybe we'll stream that as well. Can I collect seeds and make silver maple carpets? Could I? Probably. Well, hell no. I don't like paint either, Sarah. Fortunately, Brittany likes to paint. Um, I don't like paint even a little bit. But trying to be as helpful as I can, I will get involved and try to help out in some way, shape, or form. Silver Maples the only ones that split easy. Silver Maples are a giant pain in my rear end. Cannot stand them. Absolutely hate them. Neighbor's a nice guy. Don't necessarily appreciate the silver maple that is in his yard. So, uh, no me gusta. Painting for the sake of like art, June, I could potentially get behind that, but painting houses, not so much. So this is kind of a variety of chili anthers. This is also a different variety of chili anthers. You kind of have a, for the most part, it's a lower sword. So we'll have a double sword. So see if I can separate those out. These are the quarantined reticulated SAEs in this tank. 20 high, 20 high, 20 high. A brine shrimp hatchery that I set up and then left for a road trip for. We have this tank has Cryptohirus Nanulibius, or Liana Nanulibia. These are some Kalitawa rainbows, Multifasciatus Shelleys, and this is a Blue Bolt shrimp tank. So the Blue Bolt shrimp tank, most of these tanks get, I don't know, primarily RO water. But the Blue Bolt shrimp tank, I have a separate bucket that I mix salty shrimp in. So when we get to that tank, sorry, B shrimp, I use B shrimp, mineral GH plus, and some RODI water for their water changes. And once these get fresh water in them, we'll take a look, because right now they just look like a train wreck. You guys are talking way too much about painting houses for me. No thanks. Fortunately, Brittany usually takes care of the whole house paint situation. So it's been a while since I've talked to a lot of you. I try to keep in touch with some folks, and then occasionally I'm on the old Discord action. So I've been trying to keep tabs on some folks, but I haven't heard from folks like June in a little while. So I hope you guys are having a good summer. This Kalitawa tank here that I'm messing with right now, I've actually had eggs in, but I haven't been around enough to collect them or net out any fry that hatch. So if I can get a few weeks at home, should be able to get some fry out of those. Still pretty young. I got those last October-ish at a swap meet out in Quad Cities. Jude said she wants a video on how to remove carpet. The removal's not too bad. I refuse to put carpet down. Not my jam. A lot of things that I'll do myself. Tape and mud. I don't mind sheetrock, hanging sheetrock, but tape and mud is a hard pass for me. And carpet, I will let somebody else that has a little more experience than I do deal with those. Tape and mud for sheetrock is just a pain. Tried to help a friend with it once, and that was the only time. It was not a good time. Maybe if that's what you're good at, it'd be all right. But I don't do it often, or have any intention of doing it often enough to get good at it. So I will gladly pony up a couple bucks and let somebody else deal with it. Once this tank clears up, there are some multi-fry hanging out in there. So maybe we'll take a look at this one if you guys want to see some baby fish. There's baby fish in all these tanks. This is the live bears do live bear things, and the Nanolibius do, well, basically convict things. We can take a look, see if we can get a decent look with the old phone camera. I don't mind tile. I really don't mind tile. It's all right. Bear Bottom Brayton, what's up, bud? How you doing, man? I haven't really kept up on the YouTube side of things, but I do see a lot of stuff from Brenton on Facebook lately. With all these cards he's got going on. Those are thoroughly entertaining and definitely doing a great job. So keep up the good work. I will have to get my hands on some. So I've got some that I won from Steven's Friday night stream a while ago. I think they're the sticker versions. So I just haven't had the opportunity to get in on the full-size dealios, it seems. It seems like they're hard to come by. He's got like a cool new like lunchbox thing that's going on with him. Looks pretty neat. That's Kyle's responsibility, huh? All right, we'll blame Kyle then. You can blame whoever you want. I don't care either way. I just think it's cool, and I would like to get some eventually. Go dump this disaster of a brine shrimp hatchery. I'm sure it smells absolutely lovely. And I'll put that in the sink to wash in a minute, because it is no bueno. I've actually been doing more 3D print lately. Found a couple brine shrimp hatchery designs that I want to try printing and see how that goes. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Kyle and Brayton found a not necessarily brine shrimp hatchery that they did a video on. That was pretty cool. I know there's a lot of designs available with the STL files for 3D printed brine shrimp hatcheries. I haven't looked into them enough to know which ones are worth anything though. So I've got to do a little research. But I haven't really messed with designing 3D stuff yet. So eventually get into doing a little bit of that. Yeah, so my own house, our house is a little bit older. It was built in 1928. So you can imagine how less than flat and square everything really is, which kind of makes things pretty difficult. Put this down here, maybe. So, Heflin Creek. Brian, what's up? It's been a while, man. Hope you and Foxy are doing well. If you guys are ready for Clash, you guys got a lot of exciting stuff going on while you're out there. So, so I said, this tank here is a colony of blue bolt shrimp, and as such, I don't just use the python with the drain. I just use a very small python to avoid sucking up any shrimp. Not that that's always very successful, but sometimes. So I drain this to a bucket, so I know exactly how much to take out, so that when I remineralize my other 5-gallon bucket, I know exactly how much is going back in. Makes life fairly easy. At least that's the idea behind it. Ah, 15 people watching. That's surprising. I figured on a Monday afternoon, right after lunch, everybody would be busy doing actual work instead of watching me attempt to take care of a neglected fish room. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for tuning in. I believe so. Small python guy keeps attention. Doesn't take much these days, I don't think. Usually just a good big joke. But struck him in here. Somebody said, "Hey, Jody." Jody, what's up? So Jody lives less than 5 minutes away from me, as does Matt. And somehow we have not done a joint live stream or fish room tour of any of our places together. So time and life permitting, maybe one of these days we can make that happen. So I think it's a good time. It'd be fun. All kinds of eyes going back and forth. Look at you little chatterboxes. So, fortunately, yeah, we do, Jody. One of these days, where I'm not playing with Jody's snake, we'll have to get together and do some live stream action. But, generally speaking, I try to drain tanks, and then as I get a couple drained, I'll start filling the ones that I started with. But when I live stream, that usually tends to lead to gallons and gallons and gallons of water on the floor. So we will take it easy today. So I'm not just pissing water down the floor drain. Jody's gonna be out in the hills. I'll be out in the hills this week, hopefully. Do a little camping out there, a little fishing. Jenna, you know that I can't set up a stream just by myself and then actually stream. So it should come as no surprise to anybody in this room right now that the odds of me and Jody actually streaming together ever are probably fairly low. Jody, we'll be out at Sheridan Lake. So, Giovanni, what's up? Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to the always unplanned hangout session in the fish room, where we try to scrub algae and overflow fish tanks any chance we get. Custer, just down the road. Well, it would usually be just down the road if Highway 385 wasn't shut down halfway through the hills right now. So, but I believe it's shut down more or less from Sheridan Lake to the north. So Sheridan Lake going south shouldn't be too bad. The odds of Matt winning. So the odds of Jody and I streaming together are low. The odds of Matt joining us and three of us streaming at the same time, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but definitely lower than could be possible and still have a reasonable expectation of it ever happening. Planted and enchanted. So as long as you're okay with plans rapidly changing and maybe not showing up on short notice, I would love to join more people on streams because that takes the responsibility off of me of having to make it to my own stream. Not that I want to bail out on anybody else, so don't get me wrong. But it does make it a little bit easier. A guest on the bougie, I would be way outnumbered. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know that I would appreciate that a whole lot. Okay, guys, I'm gonna try not to make sick. But so instead of mix my water, that 5-gallon bucket, pump inside, and then this is just a homemade spray bar, some PVC fittings, and a section of PVC with some holes drilled in it. So getting some water going in the old shrimp tank. Maybe Brittany should be unplanted and enchanted. Good luck. She actually, so lately, she does her podcast Thursday nights. Definitely not fish related. About her fish keeping journey. Yeah, you'd mostly hear about her attempting to fix leaking filters while I'm on the road, or cleaning up a lot of water from the floor that could generally be attributed to being my fault. But we've got some tanks drained. Let's get some tanks filled back up. You guys know I've got the 255 gallon drums of water, a decent sized pump, not a big enough pump ever, and there's another homemade spray bar for the tank filled back up. Well, that's the truth. See you, Jody. Have fun. Maybe we'll run into each other out there. Brittany is the main fish keeper here. I wish I could say that was less true than it is, but that would be a lie. Without a doubt. 100% lie. Oh boy. Oh geez. Maybe. There we go. Which as long as the fish get fed, I'm usually not gone long enough that water changes necessarily need to be done. She's getting pretty good at top offs, and the fish get fed sufficiently, so it works out okay. Be safe news sunscreen. So I was actually 2-3 weeks ago. I was actually out in the hills, pretty close to where Jody's at, doing the Jeep things, doing some rock crawling and stuff. And there was a group of side-by-sides, UTVs, ATVs, whatever, that we saw on the trail. And then later that night, some of them were staying at a campground that was near our campground. Late at night, we saw a bunch of cops and sirens and stuff. Turns out one of them was involved in a shooting, or a few guys got in an argument. Guy ended up getting shot in the face and died. So I don't know for sure if it was one of the guys that we saw early on the trail or not, but definitely be safe, be responsible. We know you don't work. We all know better than that. I don't believe that for a second. Unless you're telling any of the rest of us to get back to work, then that would almost be believable. I think I've hit my work quota for June, though. I don't think there's going to be any more work going on. Not in an official capacity, anyway. Work, maybe as in yard work or house projects, sure, but no shit, Pete. So if you could, get on that sooner than later, the rest of us would appreciate it. I can read the chat a little bit easier. And by getting to work, I laid a bunch of block in my yard. Turns out our dogs and the neighbor's dogs are all knuckleheads, and they like to dig under the fence. So I laid a bunch of block along the fence to hopefully put a stop to that. So them tearing up the yard and sticking their faces under the fence at each other. So whether it works or not is to be determined. But I put forth the effort in an attempt. As far as other yard work goes, the ponds, the two little pre-made, pre-formed ponds that I picked up last night, that's going to be more work than I want to take on at 2 in the afternoon on a Monday when it's 90-some degrees outside, so that's going to get postponed. I think you deserve the break, Jenna. One email response is definitely break worthy, um, particularly certain emails that get a little more work and thought expensive than others. So I definitely think that counts as work, and you definitely deserve a break, maybe even a beverage. I know it's hot down there. What dogs do I have right now? So unfortunately, it's been a couple years now. You guys probably saw our greyhound that we used to have. Unfortunately, he got a little bit older and passed away. And then my wife's black standard poodle passed away about the same year. So that was a couple years back. We've had the old English sheepdog since we've had them. We had her for a couple years before that as well. And then Brittany decided that we needed a Yorkie in our house. So now we have an old English sheepdog and a very small Yorkie. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, Sarah, as far as the ponds go. The kid wants goldfish. I'm not really a huge goldfish, koi type of person, but maybe. I don't think the ponds are deep enough that they'd overwinter. They're roughly, each one's about 5 feet long, and the deepest part of the larger portion is probably right at 2.5 feet. I don't quite think it hit 3 feet, so I think they might get a little chilly in the winter. I'll have to do some more digging though. But I do have, obviously a variety of live bears in here, including some Giardinus metallicus. So they might go out there, or at least a group of them. Maybe some of the other live bears, they shouldn't. Some endlers and guppies shouldn't cross with them. And I might get like some easy rice fish or something. So yeah, I'm not really planning on overwintering anything in them for that reason. So we'll see. Yeah, so Brent and I actually got the black chins from a gentleman at the Quad City Swap back in October. So they are very prolific. So I've shared some of them around locally, and I know at one point in time, this was actually before I even got my group. Jorge was looking for some. Uh, he messaged me shortly after I made the impromptu tour for Ward's Fish Room. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jorge was able to source some locally. But Jorge, if you're listening, you're still looking. Let us know. Just Granton or I or Ward probably get you squared away once it cools off a little bit. As it is. I owe people plants. I owe people all kinds of things, but it is so hot here right now that I have no interest in really shipping anything. Sarah asked if I'd be at Quad Cities this October. Um, if it's very early in October, I'm not sure the dates. Do you know the dates, Sarah? Um, if it's like the first week of October, maybe the second week, I might be able to swing it. But I've got a little bit of let's call it an extended work trip that tentatively begins sometime in October. So I'm not sure. So my wife loves houseplants. I don't land plant much. I have a land plant that I cut off one of her uh, pothos and put in one of my tanks just for shits and giggles because I printed a small 3D printed little plant hanger. But I know she would be interested in land plants. Vibes, what's up, bud? October 5th. So pending anything else going on with work, family, etc., October 5th would probably be somewhat doable, to be honest. Whether I actually make it or not, I'm not going to commit to anything. But it's potentially an option. I said no guarantees, but there is a chance. Wow, I can't see the dang chat. I don't know how to make this thing go away. Well, Because it would be, I know, like Brandon and Kyle and Jody and Sarah, did you make it last time for Quad Cities when everybody was getting together? Looked like you guys had a good time, and there may have been some FOMO, not gonna lie. Last time I went to Quad Cities, I made the drive from where I'm at over to Quad Cities, picked up Ward on the way over, and it was just a little bit of a day. It was pretty long. So potentially staying overnight might be an option. Hang out with everybody, have a little bit of fun. I wouldn't be opposed. For the odds that you're not out of town for class, that you tell your wife that you're invited to a wedding you have to attend. She might like it going to Pennsylvania. I don't know. I mean, there's always a chance that I show up. Whether it's a good chance or not is usually debatable, but there's always a chance. It'd be fun. Don't get me wrong. It's not I don't want to go. It just depends on what's going on. Life's busy. Work's busy. Fortunately, right now, as far as just life stuff goes, kids finished up with baseball. Soccer, we took a little break in June from soccer. Starts back up this coming week, actually. And then a little break from hockey, and we'll roll back into hockey here in a couple of weeks. So, keeping him busy, keeping him active, trying to keep him out of trouble. Whether that's effective or not, some days I wonder. But he's a good kid. Keeps us on our toes, keeps us busy. That's for sure. So, I don't know. Clash, it'd be fun. We'll see if I make it there or not. I'm officially invited to the wedding. Oh, I was only invited if I had to attend the Clash. Is that what's going on? But no. Jokes aside, seriously, appreciate it. I'd love to make it. It's just a matter of kind of luck and timing right now. We'll see if it works. Hopefully it does. It sounds like it'll be a grand time. Just have to find a way to get there. I mean, obviously, I have a way to get there. I'm just gonna bum a ride in the RV with Jody. But actually making the getting there part happen is always the struggle. Finding a way to get there is easy. I think the time and resources usually a little bit more difficult. But that's all right. Part of the challenge makes getting there more fun. I get the FOMO thing. So I've missed out on the Clash, and always sounds like a good time. And obviously, it's nice to see everybody and see the cool stuff people bring. It seems like there's a pretty good, not necessarily rowdy crowd, but a pretty good crowd that likes to hang out after hours as well. All tanks are filling. The plate food bucket is empty. So I'm going to go to the fridge and grab some food so we can fix that. This might be the test of how far I can walk away from a phone these days. And the audio still works, let alone sounds decent. But if you guys remember, a while back I bought a bunch of different foods from Ken's, a few different brands, a few different types and styles. Just have a collection of flake food that I keep in the freezer. And there's no magic mixture. I just like to provide a variety. Like this is the soldier fly larva flake. Apparently dried out soldier flies are kind of a yellowish tan color. So we'll throw a little bit of that in the bucket. I don't know. That's probably good. Probably just make small batches and leave the rest in the freezer so it keeps a little bit better. So some Soldier Fly larva flake. This is premium multi-worm flake. So multi-worms, earthworms, bloodworms, silkworms, tooth eggs, flatworms. Throw a splash of that in the mix. I don't know how much is a good amount, just whatever. Somewhat even portions. This is a premium shrimp flake, so brine, mysis, red shrimp. I don't think they artificially color it. But it's a red flake. At the end of the day, you end up with some concoction, and I just hope that the fish appreciate my efforts and my willingness to spend money on different foods. Because why not? This is premium veggie flake. So all different plants and veggies. So a good handful of that in there. And then the last flake food that I've got that I'm mixing right now is this cricket grasshopper mealworm flake. Kind of green. Throw a splash of that in. Now I'll put these back in the freezer, with the idea being to keep them in the freezer helps them last a little bit longer without rotting, breaking down, denaturizing, etc. Judging by the splashes that I can hear on the floor while I'm out of the fish room, there's a lot of water falling on the floor right now, which is accurate. Oops. Let's count that as overflow number one. And start cleaning up that mess. Sure enough, I start digging around in the crap, and it happened. That's okay. Great. The floor drains and epoxy coated floors makes the cleanup easy. Oops. That's probably only a couple gallons today. We did okay. That's not so bad. I'm way behind on chat. So we'll take a look and see. That's a pretty fair assessment, Jenna. Not gonna lie. We all know that to be fairly true. Yeah, so you guys talk about bulk food orders. What's up, Scotty? So there used to be, a lot of this fish room is actually one of my old friend's fish rooms that he decided to get out. So I took advantage of the opportunity, got everything fairly cheap. There used to be 3 or 4 of us that do a big bulk order every year. Particularly on frozen, to save shipping on frozen foods. You can get them a little bit cheaper than at the stores, especially in bulks. Like when I buy frozen, I'm buying like a 1 pound flat at a time of multiple different things. And then dry, obviously, so Sarah, if you and Jody and Matt ever want to do bulk orders from anywhere, whether it's Ken's or the co-op or whatever, let me know. And either I can throw it together, or one of us can throw it together, and see if we can save everybody a little bit of money. Because that means that we have more money to spend on fish, or you can group order fish. Lots of options. So if there's a couple groups of fish that we can get a good deal on, and there's a bunch of them, and people want them, maybe we just throw a group buy down on some fish and see what happens. Atkins, what is up, bud? David's Aquatics is here. Atkins is here. What's up, fellas? Thanks for hanging out. It's been a while. Ian, you will not be surprised to know that the BioCube still needs resealed, and the saltwater tank is still a 35-gallon bucket of salt water and rock. It's just been aging and getting fed for well over a year now. So calling it mature rock might even be an understatement now, because it's been getting water changes occasionally, not very often. And there's some blight on it. There's algae growing. I'm sure there's all kinds of microcritters in there. It's cycled rock, to say the least. But it exists. An old BioCube. This BioCube, I mean, it's not like terribly old, but it leaks. And I will reseal it eventually. Just the last year has not been that eventually yet. And freshwater leaky tanks, obviously less than desirable. Saltwater leaky tanks leave one hell of a mess everywhere. So get to that eventually, someday, maybe. Oh, I feed it plenty. It's definitely cycled. Damsels are assholes, so I don't necessarily have particularly interest in keeping damsels. A lot of people seem to forget that clownfish are damselfish, and they're like, "Oh wow, why is my clownfish an asshole?" Well, it's a damsel, so naturally, it's an asshole by default. Very much just like choosing the food and water treatments. I just kind of I've used Prime or Safe forever, and it works. So for water treatment stuff, for the chlorinator, that's my go-to. As far as fertilizers, I use a lot of dry fertilizers. I use Collins stuff. If you could buy, if you wanted fertilizers, I'm sure we got a group buy going. Or if you use wet, like if we did like a gallon of Easy Green or like a gallon of Thrive and just divvied it up, save everybody a few bucks. No big, no biggie. Because a gallon of Thrive is actually quite a bit cheaper than a smaller bottle of Thrive. But who's going to use a gallon at a time? Ooh, fluorescent bulbs. Yeah, that's ancient. Mine originally, well, had the compact fluorescent bulbs, and then I switched it over. I did a little DIY LED build, which needs some new LEDs soldered onto it. But it's old. It's the light for my cube I built about 10 years ago. So I need to replace some of the LEDs, and I'll do that once I actually set the BioCube up. That time, money, interest, really. Well, hence the name, right? Bulk Crate Supply. So I'm actually located less than half a day's drive from Bulk Crate Supply. So all their shipping is super fast. I've used Bulk Crate Supply for most of my saltwater stuff that I've ever bought in the past, and some freshwater stuff now. And I've never had anything but pleasant experiences with BRS. So they do a lot of engagement stuff. They support clubs. I believe Keystone Clash will probably get an RODI unit donated from BRS. They're usually pretty good about donating those to events. So knowing that, even if it's a dollar or two extra compared to buying on Amazon or something, I'd encourage you to support BRS just because they do a lot for the community as far as fish keeping stuff goes. If you've never really delved into saltwater, you probably may not be familiar with them, but they're starting to expand their freshwater stuff a little bit more. that's kind of cool to see. Oh. Oh, an ink burn instead of an RO unit. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, it's a pretty good deal. If I'm not mistaken, did Stevens RODI unit that he said he'd set up a saltwater tank once he got? Was that a PRS item from the clash? J Rock, what's up? How's it going, bud? I haven't seen you in a while, man. Of course, I haven't been around, so that explains that part of that. Just doing a few water changes and scrubbing some glass and pulling random debris and stuff out of tanks right now. We haven't really missed a whole lot, to be honest. It's kind of a casual Monday. Spend about an hour down here, and then it'll be on the house projects. But I had some time. Hadn't streamed in a while. Okay, copy. Pissing you off. What's the deal with your aquatic life RO unit, Steven? Maybe you should have got a bulk reef supply unit instead. Just kidding. I know you got a flash. I'm just curious to know what it's giving you fits over. Finish up topping off a couple of these things. And I've been at it for an hour, which is exactly 1 hour longer than I've streamed in the past, I don't know, probably 6 months. So I gotta get back to real housework, not say housework. See you, Sarah. I won't be too much longer. Appreciate you stopping by, chatting. And I'll start a direct group message between us locals so that we can work on getting group orders going. Get that figured out. If anybody happens to need anything, want anything, etc. Ian, I've honestly not watched a lot of YouTube in general at all lately. How are your saltwater tanks going? Hopefully treating you well. Seemed like last time I watched any of the videos, I know you put out a couple shorts. Looked like everything was doing pretty awesome. Obviously, it's been a while, so I don't know for sure. Full valve, water shut valve hasn't turned out properly, and production is slowed. It's about half its rated. That's pretty weird. I mean, it's not like there aren't really many mechanical parts or anything to an RO unit. It really just relies on water flow. Has your house water pressure changed or anything lately? I'm guessing it's like, let's say like your output or output capacity is largely based on your water pressure. So maybe your water pressure isn't that great. You're seeing problems. It's weird that the auto shut off isn't working. Fortunately, those parts are cheap, but you don't want to. You've only had that for a year or two now, right? So that would be an absolute, I don't know, it'd be a disappointment and frustrating if you've had parts that are less than 2 years old that working. I mean, I've had my auto shut off system on the barrels for 5 years now, and they work just fine. Oh yes, do it again. I'd love to see that. That would be awesome. Seems like seagrass and like some of the macros are slowly gaining more popularity, but you still don't see many like full-on big tanks with seagrass or macros. So that'd be awesome. I'd love to see that. Might replace something with BRS. That still sucks though, Steven. Even if you replace it and you're happy with the BRS, it sucks that you had to go through the hassle, right? So vibes you out of your mind. 3.5 hours. It's freaking 2:30 in the afternoon. don't have time for that today. Got too much stuff to do. Love hanging out with you guys. Another 3.5 hours on a Monday. Yikes. Yeah, like Cat House said, a booster pump. 60 should be sufficient. I feel like more is better. I'm gonna set up a. I'm not necessarily getting the output that I want. I want to increase my efficientness. So I think I'm gonna bite the bullet and set up a booster pump on mine as well. I might add. I thought about adding a second RO membrane if I do a booster pump to increase the pressure, and then add another RO membrane. But we'll see. I've burned through a lot of RO, doing most of my water changes with straight RO. So it'd be nice to waste a little bit less water. So we'll see if I get there or not. It's on the to-do list. Just like setting up the auto dosing pump that I bought is on the to-do list. Hasn't happened yet. It's easy enough. I just right now I'm struggling to keep my head above water enough to keep the fish room running, let alone actually make significant improvements in it. Not for lack of interest, just for lack of time. Not losing any fish. I'm sustaining the fish room. Fish are still being productive, but it's time to make things better. Yeah, if you can increase it, I'm not sure. Ian might be more up to snuff on mod and RO stuff than I am. But I would try increasing it if you could, and see if it helps. You said you replaced all the filters. Did you replace the RO membrane itself? And then how often are you back flushing everything? Might help a little bit. If it's a drastic decrease in production, probably not a whole lot. Usually that just helps with creep a little bit, but just an idea, something easy to try. So I flush mine for about 5 minutes every time I turn it on. Whether it's actually accomplishing a whole lot or not, Stephen, I'm not sure. It's just a habit I've made. There should be a valve. Just a second. I will show you. Look. Let me shut this off before I forget. Otherwise, we'll end up with a mess. Walk over here through my trainer at the basement. Move some stuff out of the way. Don't judge my utility sink for lack of cleanliness. But, so, RO set up in the sink on the back of it. Well, this is on the back of this setup, a spray valve here that you can open. So when it's closed, it runs all the pressure through your membranes. If you open it, you'll increase the notice in your wastewater flow to flush the system a little bit. So I usually run that for about 5 minutes, and then close the valve to go back to producing water. So whether it's actually accomplishing a ton or not, maybe debatable, maybe not. I don't know for sure. It's just a habit pattern I've done to try to increase the life and effectiveness and efficiency with my RO setup. So if the auto shutoff is not working, are you just overflowing your storage barrel or bucket or whatever you're using until you manually go shut it off? I played that game once, so I probably told you guys this, but a long time ago. I didn't have storage set up. This was a couple houses ago, but I decided, ran out of RO water one night when I was doing a water change up to 75. So I figured, I did some math, I'm like 75 gallon per day unit. I'm going to sleep for about 8 hours. I'll just run the RO line straight into the aquarium to fill up the tank while I slept. And I went downstairs to a soggy basement. My wife wasn't happy. We were into the house at the time. Landlord maybe found out about it, maybe not. I don't know. If he did, I'm sure he was not happy. So we had to run some fans and dehumidifiers, and there was some carpet in the basement that got pretty wet. So that's that. Geek, we know you're not responsible. I appreciate your efforts to try to upplay your attempt at responsibility, but I think I've overflowed tanks any way that you could possibly imagine, Geek. I'm not sure there are any ways left. In fact, I've overflowed tanks by overflowing tanks because they're on a rack and they're below each other. Yeah. Engages, but the wastewater never comes off. Yeah, that would be my guess as well. So yeah, maybe if you can't increase the pressure, I have a pressure gauge on mine. It's older, that doesn't work anymore. So I have to replace it, so I'm not even sure what my pressure's running at. But I know the pressure's not quite where I want it to be. So I'm actually getting not only extra discharge water, but my RODI right now actually has a little bit of KH in it, hence the booster pump. So I put this TV in the fish room, thinking, oh, it'd be nice to be able to watch streams, not on the phone. So yeah, Eakins, catch you later. It was a great idea, except for the fact that now the kid wants to move his Xbox downstairs and just take over the fish room and make it his hangout. Which, if he moved the Xbox downstairs, then I'd probably play the Xbox in the fish room instead of being productive in the fish room. And then absolutely nothing would ever get done, which would be even more unfortunate than it is now. But I'm going to take a break from the fish room. I'm going to go work on some other house projects. Deacons, Cheryl, Jody, Sarah, Jenna, Stephen, Jay, everybody that's hanging out. Appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday afternoon. I will hopefully, if I can get some stuff done around the house, I will hopefully be back down here working on tanks and join you guys for Wet Your Plants. If there's a Wet Your Plants today, maybe Stephen can answer that question. I haven't looked at the stream schedule or scheduled streams, but haven't caught a Wet Your Plants live in a while. So it'd be nice to hang out with the WYP crew. So, no Wet Your Plants today. Why is there no Wet Your Plants today, Stephen? Is this a youth thing? This is my Kelly thing. Should we blame Kelly for this? Kelly's in Oregon still, isn't she? Or did she head home? I just need to know who to properly blame. Well, that doesn't mean that you can't stream. Or we could impromptu, you pick a subject and you can outsource your co-host to somebody. Unless you're implying that Kelly's the only reason that people watch Witcher Plants. Which, if that's the case, uh, maybe that's accurate. Maybe not. I don't know. See? There you go, geek. Use that excuse. So, all right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the good conversation. I'm going to work on cleaning up my mess and get some housework done. Enjoy your Monday. Till next time. Take care. And we'll see you later.